Hey guys, welcome to this week's GPS lesson. We are in week 3 of how to be a quitter. The first 2 weeks were how to quit making excuses, and last week was how to quit complaining. And this is week 3 of 4 in the new year of how to be a quitter. 4 things to quit in the new year. So before we get to this week's lesson, we got to talk about the polar plunge. So we are doing the polar plunge this year. I have another polar plunge sweatshirt on today. I love them. I wear them all the time. But it's different. They are not having their polar plunge in Carlisle. They're not having any on-site polar plunges this year. We just found that out last week. So they are encouraging all of our groups to have plunge at home parties and plunge at home opportunities where people can individually plunge at home, or as what we're going to do, plunge as a group. Because they say it's not where you plunge or how you plunge, but that you plunge. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to get a couple of these inflatable pools and fill them with nice icy cold water and meet on the church property, probably up in the field, and have our own plunge. We'll have the sound system set up, we'll have music playing, we'll announce people still as they go through. We're still going to dress up. You still have to raise $100 to do it though, $100 per person, just as if we were going to the plunge. You still then get your sweatshirt. It won't be till after the plunge is over. It'll be middle of March sometime, but you'll still get your sweatshirt, and all the money will go to the Special Olympics of Southern Illinois. Our own Matt Rothy and Sammy Newberry have participated in the polar plunge or in the Special Olympics before. Matt has been an ambassador for the polar plunge and has jumped with us a couple different times. So we're hoping to have him part of this celebration too. So you still have to raise $100, but we're going to not go to Carlisle. We'll go to our own church property and plunge in the pools. It'll be fun. It's going to be cold, but it'll be a lot of fun. So if you've already plunged in the past, you can still go on to your registration and register for this event. If you haven't, then we'll get it. I'll get a link sent out to you guys and you can go in and still do it. We were supposed to go to Carlisle on February 27th, so we may still do that day, or we may do Sunday the 28th. I got to confirm stuff with the church calendar and all that, so we'll get the exact date, but it'll be one of those 2 dates at the end of February. All right, so I look forward to doing this. We're still going to dress up, like I said. It's still going to be a lot of fun. So I hope all of you participate in this. All right, so how to be a quitter, quit living in fear is today's lesson. If you're like most people, and I think you are afraid of something. Everybody's afraid of something. It might be a thunderstorm. Our dogs are terrified of thunderstorms. Spiders, creepy. Heights, I fall in this category. This picture freaks me out. Sharks, that's dude's biggest fear. And the number one fear is speaking in public. If you go on any website and type in top fears, this is the one that comes up. Speaking in public. Susan's biggest fear is snakes. And I had to put a cartoon snake on here because if there was a picture of a real snake, she'd be out the door. She would not put up with it. So I got a cute little cartoon snake. Now I got to be fair. I'm not a big fan either. I don't like them either. So, but I know there's people in our group that catch them, Marcus Hoffman, and play with them. Ugh. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, so today we're going to talk about 4 of the most common fears. It's the fear of loss, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, and the fear of the unknown. First, the fear of loss. This is about losing something important to you or someone important to you. For some, it may be losing a loved one. Others, it might be the fear of losing control. And I know for many people going into the pandemic, this was a big one for them because we were being told by our schools and churches and businesses that we couldn't do this and we couldn't do that. We had lost control. And I know that was a fear that we may lose control forever of what we can do. So I know that's a big one coming into the pandemic. But we all fear losing someone or something, right? Maybe your fear is losing your favorite blankie. I know, I'm waiting for people to stop crying. Oh, my blankie. So fear of loss is a big, we all fear losing something or someone. Fear of failure. We fear that no matter how hard we try, things just won't work out. We fear that we might be embarrassed or our reputations might be bruised. As a result, we give up trying new things or we take the safest route possible. This is exactly about, or tied into the fear of public speaking. People are afraid that they're going to look foolish, they're going to make a mistake, and they're going to be embarrassed. Their fear of failing at public speaking. That's why they're afraid to speak in public. They just don't do it then. So the toughest thing about this is we don't try new things. We don't take risks. We don't step out of our comfort zone, as they say, because we're afraid that we're going to be embarrassed. So we always take the safest route. For those of you that are watching our church worship services on Sunday or anytime during the week, but they post every Sunday morning at 10. Next week on the 31st, there's a little special moment in the praise team where one of the members, who's a guy, he may be the only guy on the praise team, makes a little blunder. And instead of redoing it, starting over, we kept it because it doesn't matter to me. I don't fear, I don't get embarrassed easily. I don't fear having my reputation. My reputation is I'm going to screw up every once in a while. So there you go. So you have to watch that next week. All right, the fear of rejection. We want to fit in. We want to be liked. We want to be needed. So we base some of our decisions on that fear. How many of you guys have made a decision to go along with the crowd because you're afraid that you might be rejected if you don't? Now, some of you may be getting into this in middle school. I know it's an issue in high school, maybe later, where drugs and alcohol and missing curfew or sneaking out or being on your phone when you're not supposed to or going to sites that you're not supposed to or whatever, because your friends are doing it. We do that because you're afraid that if you don't, you're going to be rejected by them. This is a big, big one for youth. It's actually a big one for adults too. We make decisions sometimes we know aren't the best for us because we're afraid we're going to be rejected if we don't. So this is a big fear for people. And fear of the unknown. You allow yourself to be held back from the good things God has planned for you because you're not sure what will happen. I've told you guys my story many times about I went back to school 10 years ago, actually now 12 years ago, and got my degree in teaching, graduated 10 years ago, and started teaching. So had I not done that, God had that planned for me. Had I stayed in sales and marketing and all the other stuff I did, I don't know if I'd be the youth director or the choir director or the Ignite choir director or any of those things. But God had that plan for me to do all those things. And if I had feared the unknown and not tried any of those, who knows where we'd be today. Dude just got home. All right, 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. So it's how we approach these fears that we're going to talk about. You can simply use them as guidance in your decision-making process, or you can allow it to paralyze you and keep you from functioning in any sort of normalcy. That's where the difference between fear and concern comes in. We're going to get to that next. So fear is a natural response that is triggered by anything that looks, feels, or sounds like a threat. Our bodies are neurologically wired to look for anything that could be perceived as harmful. It's the fight, flight, or freeze response when stuff hits the fan. I know you guys have all seen students in your classes or school do this. Teachers talk about the fight, flight, or freeze response. We'll pause now for Jude's entrance. Jude, come on and get the rest of. Oh, Brooke is here too. We're in the middle of recording our lesson. Come on in and have a seat.
Sorry.
Come on in. This is my second time doing this, and I'm not doing it a third, so you can have a seat. All right, so it's the fight, flight, or freeze response. You guys have all seen students in your class or school do this before. The teacher gets onto them, or something happens, and they fight back. They're smart aleck back, or they throw something. Or I've seen kids punch lockers or do something like that, or they just take off. They just bolt, right? They get out of there. Or they just shut down and say nothing. Bobby, what's the matter? What happened? What can I help you with? So, happens all the time. So fear does that. Their fear of what could happen, their fear of what's going to be said to them or the consequences of whatever. So fear has taken control of them in those situations. Concern, on the other hand, is action-oriented. It's supported by proactive measures, level-headed decisions that look to protect and sustain what is growing and thriving. Concern is a form of curiosity. Facts are acknowledged, assessed, and risks are calculated from a space of mental clarity. So, to put it simpler, fear versus concern. Fear distracts us, it disables planning, it blurs our vision, it tends to give up, it exaggerates, and focuses on self. So fear, we're constantly thinking about stuff, about what can happen, what can go wrong. So it disables our planning. Instead of working around it or through it, we just stop altogether. And we can't get focused on what we're doing because we're so distracted by the fear itself or what could happen. So we just tend to give up, right? And exaggerate. Things are never as bad as you think they are. Oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I'm going to disagree. So, and it's selfish. Fear is selfish because you're worried about yourself and not others. Concern, on the other hand, it focuses us. It helps us plan. It clarifies our purpose. It perseveres. It pinpoints problems, and it cares for others. Concern doesn't consume us. All right? So concern is you plan for those things to avoid the bad stuff from happening. We're focused on what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to get there. All right? In Apollo 13, I love that movie. If you guys haven't seen it, you got to watch it. So Apollo 13, there's all these things going wrong with the rocket ship, and the director's finally like, let's focus on what we can do. Not focus on the problem, but focus how we get them home. Right? So it's the same kind of thing. We tend to focus on what's wrong with us or what could possibly be wrong or go wrong, that we don't work through it. Let's get a plan. Let's work through the plan. And it cares for others. I love that slide. All right. So fear and concern play valuable roles in our safety and existence. When we're in a car, what do? We put our seatbelts on, right? We face forward in the seat. We go the speed limit. We follow traffic signs and obey traffic laws. We stop at stop signs and stoplights. We put our turn signals on when we change lanes or when we're making turns. We do all kinds of things to avoid getting an accident. There is a chance anytime you get in the car, you can get in an accident. That's just reality. So you do all these things to try to avoid it, right? You can live in fear and just not drive. You can walk everywhere or not go anywhere at all. Or you can act with concern and take all the necessary precautions. Before the pandemic, if you didn't feel well, if you were sick, you didn't go to school, you didn't hang out with friends. Or if somebody was sick, you hey, it might be best if you don't come to my party today, or maybe we shouldn't hang out because I don't want you to get my whole house infected or whatever. So and that was fine. We were okay with that. We took the necessary precautions. Or puking. I tell you what, every year, I do this every year. If somebody posts on Facebook, oh, so-and-so at our house, the flu has hit our house, my husband is puking or whatever, I immediately play the 6 degree, gotta spit it out, the 6 degrees of separation game. Okay, when was the last time I saw this person or saw the person that saw them or saw the person that saw them, and I see what kind of odds I'm gonna have of getting the stomach flu myself, because I hate puking. I can be sick of any other thing except puking. That just drives me absolutely crazy. So,
stop saying puking.
Susan loves it.
Gosh.
So we avoid it. If you've got a friend that's been up puking, don't come to school. They don't come over. They don't do that. At schools all the time, if you have a fever for 24 hours, you got to be fever free for 24 hours before you come back. And we were all okay with those things. School. If you have a fear of failure, what are you going to do? You're just going to give up? You're just going to not study, not go to class, not do your homework? Some people do. Or are you going to buckle down and you're going to do more? You're going to work more. You're going to come up with a plan to make it through. Right? All right. So your fears and concerns reveal what you value most. For example, if you fear losing a friendship, it shows that you really value that friendship. So what are you going to do? Just sit at home and be scared that you might lose that friend? Or are you going to take all the necessary steps to keep that friend? So your fear has now turned to concern. I'm concerned that I might lose this friendship if I'm mean to them, or if I say something or do something mean to them, or I say something bad about them or whatever, I could lose that friendship. So you don't do that stuff. The important thing is to identify them, place them in the hands of God, and act accordingly. In Psalm 56, verses 2 through 4, my adversaries pursue me all day long. In their pride, many are attacking me. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you, in God whose word I praise. In God I trust and am not afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? Guys, there's all kinds of things in our world that can paralyze us and make us want to just hide in our basement. But we have to put our faith in God and do the right things so we can function normally. Now, I'm going to bring up the mask thing. And this is something I don't normally do, because I think everybody has a right to do whatever they think is best, right? But there are some people that are out there saying, you can't live in fear of the virus. I don't live in fear of the virus. Do you live in fear of the virus? So we don't live in fear of the virus, but I don't want to get it, just like the stomach flu. I don't want to get it, so I'll take all the precautions necessary to not get it. I also don't want to spread it to somebody else. That's where in the concern column, that you act on others' best interest, that's where concern over fear. I don't want others to get it either. So I socially distance, I wear my mask, I don't go out into public places that aren't socially distancing. I don't do that. I mean, I go to the store and do all that, but I keep my distance. I wipe down the cart with Clorox wipes. I take all the necessary precautions that I can to not do it, to not get it and not spread it. I'm not fearful of it, but I take all the necessary precautions. Do you see the difference there? I hope you do. I don't want to get into it anymore. All right, by faith, David put his trust in God and believed that God would see him through. Oh, by the way, this verse, David and Goliath. Nobody gave David a shot to defeat Goliath, but he put his trust in God. All of his adversaries even said, you can't do it. But he put his faith in God, and God gave him the courage and the faith and the power to do so. So by faith, David put his trust in God and believed that God would see him through. We can do the same. No matter what you're scared of, heights, spiders, virus, whatever, sharks, snakes, if you put your faith in God and do what you need to do to take the necessary precautions, we can do the same. God would see us through this. Seek God, call out to Him, and listen to what He tells you. All right? So quit living in fear. Live with concern, but don't live in fear. Okay, so that's our lesson. I'll put the questions up first in a second, but last week's participation gift card winner was Aaron Swanson. He's not told me which gift card he wants. Aaron Swanson, you're not even paying attention, boy. So Aaron has a $20 gift card to someplace. I have a supply of 10 or 12 of them. He's got to pick one. And this week's winner, we drew ahead of time. Susan, and who was it?
Macy.
Macy Tyler, you are this week's winner of the participation reward. So we have $20 gift certificate to, or gift card to McDonald's, Subway, Amazon, Dairy Queen, a few others. I took a picture and put it on Facebook or on the GroupMe so you can look at it, see what you want. So Macy Tyler, you win this week. So here are the questions. Now with these questions, you can answer them on GroupMe if you want, but you're going to get into a couple of sticky things here that you're welcome to just text me or not answer it at all on GroupMe. You can answer. I need you to answer a couple of them so I know that you're paying attention. But if you have something too personal that you don't want to share, text me or Susan and let us know what we can do. So what is or was your greatest fear? So for some people, it may be some of those snakes or spiders or sharks, right? But for some people, it may be food, clothing, housing. Parents are fighting, whatever. So what is or was your greatest fear? Oh, it's a two-part, but the same one. How are you overcoming it, or did you overcome it? So how did you get through that fear? Sue, how do you handle your fear of snakes?
Avoid any place that they would be.
She avoids them.
Avoid
That's a good
anything.
call. All right, so your fear, how do you overcome it? Or if you have overcome it already, how did you overcome it? Then here's where you may not want to put this public. What are some things in your life you're trying to take on yourself instead of putting your faith in God? I know we have, again, I talked earlier about college decisions and all that. We have a few people in our group trying to make college decisions. I know you may have parents trying to make financial decisions and job decisions. Maybe your parents are thinking about moving, doing whatever. So what are some things that you're holding in that you're trying to handle yourself instead of putting your faith in God to handle for you? And how can we help? Guys, you have to know that we are always here for you. That if you're afraid of something or you're concerned about something or you're just kind of about hesitant about something or whatever, we're always here for you. There aren't many things that we haven't dealt with as parents or youth leaders that we can't at least help you with or find somebody that can help you with it. So if there's something that you need our help with, let us know. We are here for you. All right? So answer the first couple if you want to on GroupMe so you're eligible for the gift card drawing for next week. And if you want to put some separate, text us or email us or call us. You're welcome to call us and talk to us. That's cool too. Just let us know. All right. Next week, I don't know what it is, but it's week 4 of how to quit. What's the thing?
How to be a quitter?
How to be a quitter. There you go. How to be a quitter.
Right
Huh? Oh, how to be a
It's
quitter.
like right next to you.
It's right there. Let me answer a question about being in person. We are not in person yet, as you know, but I think we're going to be in person soon. I will let you know. our region has met 3 of the 4 criteria to open back up. So as soon as we meet that 4th one and the conference says thumbs up, it's okie dokie to go back in person, we will go back in person. But as soon as, or until that's done, we'll still do this way. Hopefully that'll be soon and we can all be back together. I will get the links out to the Polar Plunge and answer these questions. If you guys need anything, let us know. God bless you guys. We miss you guys. Hopefully we'll see you soon.